I'd like to start by getting you thinking and asking you, our curriculum is designed to help teach engineering, which basically incorporates all of the science, mathematics, engineering, and technology. What is an engineer, or what do engineers do?
Build.
I heard build, okay. Design. And there's one other thing that they do that's pretty important.
Test.
Yeah, and why are they testing?
Trials.
Problem solving. They're testing to see if there's any problems, right? Yeah, so that's exactly. So those are the keys. And problem solving is probably the best explanation of what they do. One of the things that we have in our curriculum are some awesome videos, and I like to start out with that. What did I do with my water?
You've probably heard the word engineering before, and you've probably been told it's pretty important. But what exactly is engineering? And who exactly is an engineer? Engineers are people who design and build things that we use every day. However, they don't just go building the first thing that comes to mind. They work hard to make something we need, and they want to do a good job of it. So how do engineers decide what they need to build? Well, in most cases, they start with a question. Here's an example. Say you live on a space station, and something outside breaks. Obviously, you need to go outside and fix it. But how exactly do you do that? That's a great question for engineers. Once they've got a good handle on things, they'll start imagining ways to solve the problem. They'll come up with all kinds of ideas, and some that might even seem a little crazy. That's important because sometimes the craziest idea is the one that works best. After coming up with these ideas, they'll pick a few that make the most sense. Next, they'll start drawing a plan. Depending on the idea, the plan can be very simple or very complicated. But the important part is the plan itself. A good plan helps engineers focus on what they're making, and most importantly, why. Now the engineers get to have some real fun. They get to create something. It's important to stick to the plan, though, so the idea doesn't go too far off course. Once they've built it, then they have to test it. Experimentation is very important because it's here that engineers learn what works and, well, what doesn't. And while it's great when something goes right on the first trial, it's actually good when things don't, because that gives engineers a chance to go back and improve on their original idea. And improve they will until they've solved the problem. So the next time you've got a problem to solve, whether simple or complicated, there's probably a team of engineers ready to create something to solve it. And nobody solves engineering problems quite like NASA.
Did you see the little dance? I guarantee somebody in here is going to be doing a little dance when they get their thing to work. If not today, we have something you're going to be doing with one of my colleagues on Friday, where you're going to do an even cooler activity. So our curriculum is designed to implement engineering into the curriculum. We start with grades K through 2, go 3 through 5, and 6 through 8. The curriculum guide is basically the same guide for, where is it? Right here. And you can download this from our website. It's the same for all 3 grades. K through 2 would just be much simpler, and grades 3 through 5, the same activities. Grades 6 through 8, it's just a little bit simpler, and I'll just give you a quick example here. Today we're building the satellites. Slow computer. Okay, well, I thought I was going to find it quickly. My computer's acting slow. Oh, here we go, buttons. So with the activity you're going to do today, you can see these are the instructions for K through 2. Very simple, just 2 instructions. For actually doing today's activity, they would basically just be counting. Do you need 3? Do you need 2? Do you need 1? Very simple for K through 2. If you're teaching grades 3 through 4, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, it gets much more complicated. For example, grades 6 through 8, there's actually numbers here that you have to add and calculate. And I'm going to be presenting you with the 6 through 8 version. I think you all can handle 6th grade work. Don't be afraid, seriously, it's not that hard. You can handle 6th grade math. But I just wanted to show you, you won't do 6th grade math with your kids. Your kids, if you're K through 2, they're basically just saying, do I need 1, do I need 3? Do you follow me on that? So, and the curriculum guide, it's very, very simple. Let's see if I can give you another example. I think that's probably the most advanced that we get with today's activity. There is, yeah, when we do the balloons, there's a little bit more math, but again, it's very, very simple. So I saw some faces that looked a little worried. Trust me, it's pretty simple. So, oops. I mentioned we jack it up with grades 9 through 12, 6 through 8. We have something we call lunar robotics. If you do want to get more advanced, you can contact us about lunar robotics. So our curriculum is designed to get engineering into your curriculum. We focus on measurement and the engineering design process. Measurement is a great way to get math into the curriculum. When they have to measure the things that they build, and it's really cool what they're going to build, it's a natural way to do it. One of the things that we do for you, if you can afford it, we have an agreement with Science Kit. It's a company that has science products. And for $330, it has everything you would need for all 9 activities. Even if you don't have that kind of money, the materials are almost free. You know, things like paper clips, cardboard that you can save from boxes, popsicle sticks. Just if you have a real low budget, you can come up with some materials, and you'll see as we go through today how simple the materials are. For $175 for things that need to be refilled, like cardboard that gets cut up, or paper cups or things, you can get a refill. One great thing about this is if you're writing a grant, does anybody ever write grants? Okay, this is a line item that you can put on your grant so that you don't have to, you know, write down how much do cotton balls cost, how much do popsicles. You can just go to their website and say the materials are $330 for the whole curriculum. So all activities, you're going to see what they come with when we pass that out later. This is what we do. We work with teachers. We try to get you to feel comfortable with STEM. We can do it in person like I'm doing now. I will, if you need help, I can Skype with you. We can do, Goddard has a digital learning network. If you get a big project going, maybe with your couple classes together and want to show off your projects, we can do something like that. But if you need help, I am available online as well as in person. So, why are we here? We are here because NASA needs engineers. Does anybody know how old the average engineer was when we went to the moon? 28. 28. When you look back at those pictures from 1969, you look at those men, they're all very young looking men, except for Lovell, or no, who was the guy in charge? He wasn't young, but most of the engineers were young. Guess how old the average engineer is right now? Almost 60. They're the same guys. Houston, we have a problem. Here's another problem. Did you know NASA can only hire U.S. citizens? Did you know that? A lot of people didn't know that. We cannot, Northrop Grumman can import them from China or Germany. We have to have U.S. citizens. We need you to grow our engineers. So that is why NASA has an education department. That's why we're here. We want you to grow us some engineers. So our curriculum, I think we all know this. They've known this since I was in school way back when. This is an economic issue, and we are eroding our place in society. We have a global society at this point, and if we don't do something, we may be at the tipping point because of this issue. We are not preparing our own scientists and engineers. Our curriculum is designed on the assumption that kids are natural engineers and natural explorers. You guys were also back when you were little. Do you remember enjoying discovering things and seeing how things work? And then we did something to you. I'm not sure what we did, but we scared it out of you, sadly. But we want you to keep that natural engineer spirit going with your kids. Our curriculum is different. It says no images. Our most recent version does have some images, but we try to keep the images to a minimum so that the students use their imagination. And our guides have exciting media and videos. That guide that I pulled up a minute ago, you can just click on links and it'll take you right to some of these videos. So it's real easy to do. So we use the engineering design process. Really, all we want you to do is take that natural engineer in your kids and make it more disciplined. We want to discipline them in the engineering design process. It's that simple. Instead of just being willy-nilly, we're going to have discipline, and that's what I'm going to teach you today is this engineering design process. The engineering design process is a cyclical process, and we had somebody at this table say that they test and ask questions. That's part of the process. By the way, we borrowed this from the Museum of Science in Boston. It's public domain, just like anything I do today is public domain. So this is to give them credit. They came up with this engineering design process. But we are going to go through the process very slowly, and if I can introduce, she just got here. Catherine, come on up here. Catherine is my colleague, and she's going to do the more fun activity I told you about on Friday. I'm going to go through very slowly this process. And so when you get to her on Friday, you're going to have gone through the process, so you will, get right down to work with her. And it's going to be the same exact process, and she's going to go through with you the same things I do, but you won't need to be trained again. So, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi folks, my name is Catherine Crupton. I'm the informal educator here at the Visitor Center currently. My background is in science mathematics actually, but went full swing into education, into informal and museum education. And I actually use the best curriculum for an after-school program that I run for elementary age students. And it's great because it's very project-based, it's very hands-on, it's a lot of great interaction so that the kids are learning and doing and just all of these great things, and you're engaging all their senses all at the same time. So, plus it's fun to drop things. So.
And she's done this same curriculum with kids under 5 years old, I believe. Yeah, she does it mostly with the... but they do. I mean, you're not as strict with them if they're 5 and 6 years old. If you've got, for those I heard a couple 5th and 6th grade, I think, you're just going to be more strict the way I'm going to be with you. I'm going to be strict with you. I'm going to require, more exact measurements, more measurements. If you're dealing with somebody that's only 5 years old, maybe they just measure one thing or two things, and maybe do, of course, less complicated math.
And the nice thing is the scalability is that it really is flexible for a whole number of different age ranges. So even while you're teaching the lesson, adapt to what your students' needs are.
Mm-hmm. And even within the classroom. If I feel like some of you can handle more math than others, I might expect a little more. So that is the engineering design process. Thank you, Catherine. So I think we're going to skip this slide. The next, it was just a quote saying we need engineers, but this is much more fun. Take a look at this. This is actually a picture from Washington, D.C. One of our colleagues came across this and realized this is how the engineering design process works. Take a look at this, and she came across a serious problem here. Some of you see it. What do you see?
It looks like a handle you should pull.
It looks like a handle you should pull. That's one problem, right? There's some more problems. Imagine yourself walking up to this door, and what you're obviously wanting to hold on and pull, right?
The lock is underneath the handle.
Well, yes, but think about where...
On the opposite side of the door, it kind of wants to open. Right?
Thank you. Say that louder, please.
Once you grab the handle, you can't see the instructions.
Once you grab the handle, you can't see the instructions. So you're pulling and pulling and pulling, and the only thing to tell you to push, you've got covered with your hand. So let's ask ourselves some questions. How could we fix this? How could we make it better? What's something we could do to make it better?
Voice-activated direction.
Just get rid of the handle.
Get rid of the handle? Change the handle? Better sign? Big sign that says push.
Maybe a different color?
Yeah, but certainly not tiny little writing on a handle that you're going to cover up. And that's the other thing, that the writing is so tiny. I would throw that in with the fact that you've covered it up. Even if you didn't, I mean, when you get older, you can't see stuff that tiny. So those are a couple things. So take a look at this. Yes, this is a real picture from Tokyo.
There's got to be an actual reason for it being.
Well, let's think about this, because I'm going to refer to this picture when we do the activity. So what are some of the problems here?
There's no access to the balcony.
There's no access to the balcony. Is the balcony in the wrong place? Did it need to have a door there? Does anybody see any other problems?
I see kids that would try and scale that other
Some people think that might be some sort of air vent. If that's an air vent, that's a problem. But she brings up what's above the ramp, the deck. If that is an air vent, then obviously you don't want that there. It might be a light, it's hard to tell. But clearly some problems here. One of the things I like to bring up about this, who was at fault? Was it the person that designed it? Was it the person that implemented it? Do we know? We don't know, right? Have you ever dealt with contractors? Yeah. I mean, it could be that the designer did a bad design job and the builder said, well, this is what's on our design and this is how we're going to build it. You would think somebody would have asked a question along the way, right?
Maybe someone forgot the steps.
That could be. She said somebody forgot the steps. I mean, you guys are from Pennsylvania. You're from Baltimore, right? Currently live in Baltimore. People that are from Baltimore might not find this odd. There are a lot of homes in Baltimore where you crawl out the window onto a deck. So, because some people would say, well, it has to have a door. I don't know about that.
New York, where you crawl out the window onto the fire escapes.
Yeah. So that.
They just didn't build it enough. Oh, maybe they shortchanged it.
Right.
I still think somebody would have.
You would think. How are we doing on time? 1:30, 2:30. I think we don't have quite enough time to do this activity, but what I would like, if we had time, what I would like to have done is have you pick an object in your life that is giving you a headache. And if you just want to quickly jot this down, or I'll be giving my email out. I'll be happy to email you if you don't feel like taking notes. Because we only have like an hour and a half left. Is that correct? Yeah. So we don't have time to do this. But if you do get me to come to your school, we'll do it. Get me more time, and we'll do this activity with your people. But this is a fun thing to do with your kids.
You're saying you'll come to our school?
You're local. You're Pennsylvania, right? Yeah. So as long as we can, yeah. As long as we still have. We can talk about that. Just contact me. Okay, so engineering design process. So we were starting to ask some questions with that last picture. And we could start to imagine some solutions. And you can do a thinking activity like this with your students and get them thinking about it on paper first before you dive into what we are about to dive into. We are about to dive into, yes, Allie is going to pass out the lesson. Oh, and you know what we didn't do is pass out bags.
Not at the end.
I tell you what, I will pass out bags while you pass out lessons.
Oh, no.
You know how interns are. Oh, you're going to pass out bags?
One to everybody?
Yeah, I think, wait, do we have enough? I don't know if I have enough. One, more people came than we're supposed to. 3, 4,
That's a good
5,
problem, right?
6. You know what? I don't think I have enough.
So
Yeah,
two
forget
per
it.
table?
Do you have access to bags?
No, my
If we,
packets for everyone.
yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I was told there'd be 17 people and there are more, so can some of you share? And remember, it is downloadable for free on the internet, and I'll give you that site if you want to. So I need, what, 2 or 3?
Coming to my school, so I'll give it up.
Oh, okay. Somebody gave one up here, so. I think only 1 or 2 people need to share.
Well, they're back there. Don't they have to participate too?
No, they don't have to. They look like they don't want to participate. They're just here to observe. So does everybody have? Don't turn the page yet. Oh, I'm sorry. Don't turn the page. Yep. Don't open your packet till. Okay, I need some, ladies and gentlemen, I need your attention. Can I have someone read the design challenge that is on the right-hand side? Who would like to read for me? Would you like to read?
I can.
Thank you.
What am I reading? I'm sorry.
On the right-hand side, that little sentence.
To design and build a satellite that meets specific size and mass constraints, it must carry a combination of cameras, gravity probes, and heat sensors to investigate the moon's surface. The satellite will need to pass a 1-meter drop test without any parts falling off.
Okay, no looking. Flip your page over. Flip the whole packet over. Flip the packet over. Flip the packet over. Okay. Now, I've got you in groups of 3. You'll have to work as a group of 4, okay? In your groups of 3, I would like you to come up with at least 1, preferably 2 questions you have for me about your challenge. No, I tell you what, I'll read it for you. Keep it package flipped over. I'll read hang on. There's a reason I have you flipping. I'll explain in a minute why I did that. Let me pull it up for you here. Hang on. My computer's thinking.
You want to go back to the
I'm trying to.
the PowerPoint? No. Make the whole thing bigger?
I'm trying to find my. I'll pull it up again.
Okay.
Best activities, best guide. Here we go. Okay, there it is. Here it is. If you need to see it again, is this it? Oh no, that's the next one. That was it? Right there? Okay, there you go. To design and build a satellite that meets specific size and mass constraints, it must carry a combination of cameras, gravity probes, and heat sensors to investigate the moon's surface. The satellite will need to pass a 1-meter drop test without any parts falling off. So in your group, come up with at least 1, if not 2, questions you have about your challenge.
It's supposed to be 3 and 3, so we can do it.
Can we just share one line? Share one line.
This exact one? Building a satellite? Yeah. Our curriculum is getting out there. It's yeah. That's our curriculum. Yeah. We use the SOI uses our curriculum. So you're going to be bored on Friday. You know what? It needs to be better than your last rover. It needs to go further. Think about it. Was your last rover perfect?
No, I didn't really build them.
Oh.
I did it with with the kids.
Oh,
I want to run with a hot glue gun.
oh, okay. Yeah, but that's it. Summer of Innovation. I thought, okay, is that with kids? Yeah, okay. Okay, so let's go around the room and listen up to see if because you're going to need to know some of the answers to the questions that they ask. Do you need more time? Okay, what's your question?
What is the specific size and mass?
What is the specific size and mass? So what are the constraints? What are the constraints? Where's Allie? Allie?
Yes, measurements?
Yes, constraints, yeah. Yeah. So one of your measurement assignments, you will have to measure this, you will have to calculate, and this is, again, your first and second graders won't have to calculate the area, but you will have to calculate the area based on taking the measurement. So you will take this measurement of the size of this container, and then when it's time for us to test your satellite, we will hold this. You don't get to keep this at all. This is just the test vehicle. We will put it in there. If it doesn't fit, you go back to the drawing board. And believe it or not, I just worked with a bunch of scientists last week from NSF, and they had some that had to be redesigned. So don't feel bad if yours does. They were all science and math people, and they still got up here and it didn't quite fit.
Does that lid have to go back on?
Yeah. Well, actually, no, we won't be that strict. Maybe some of you will be that strict. But she asked, does the lid have to go back on? Because that would rob you of about 5 millimeters. So that's your size constraint. The weight constraint is in theory. Remember, you are building a model. You realize engineers are like architects. They don't just start the big building, they have the model first. Right? Do you know what I mean? You're building the model of the satellite that will be built from your model. So in theory, it's going to have a certain weight, and that's going to, when I let you look at the paper, it's going to be in the paper. And you'll see that chart in a moment. By the way, I wouldn't let you look below, because if you got to look below, the first 5 pages are teacher instructions, and that would give some of this information away. That's why I wouldn't let you look. It would not be on the student copy, which is probably like 5 pages into your packet. But some of the information we will be giving away when I let you turn your packets over. Next, what's your question?
We had the same question, and then we had, what was our second question?
Materials, what materials?
What materials? What materials? And Allie has a list she's about to pass out. The materials will be simple. Yeah, go ahead. 1 per group. Your materials are just simple stuff like paper clips and cardboard and pipe cleaners and Q-tips, things like that. So you're about to get the materials. So what's a question you guys had?
How long do we have?
How much time do you have? Very good question. You have an hour, and that includes planning, and the planning is the toughest part. Very good question. Yes, what do you have?
Is passing the test with nothing falling off, is that the test? Or is there an additional test? Is that the success?
The success is that nothing falls off and your instruments move. Your instruments deploy. So that is part of it, that your instruments deploy. Yes. Question?
What surface are we dropping it onto?
Excellent question, and you're definitely going to have this question on Friday with Catherine. What surface? We will be using this surface right here. And you already know a 1 meter drop, so that's, we will be dropping it from 1 meter. But that is an excellent question. You guys, what's one of your questions?
What size and weight?
We had all those. And what can't be on it?
What cannot be on it? Well, at this point, I can't think of any restrictions, but if there is something you have to get approval for, you do need approval. Okay? So, if you would please take a look at this video. We have these nice videos for you. PowerPoint. Oops.
The first step in the engineering design process is to ask, what exactly does this mean? For engineers, it means to clarify exactly what the problem is. After all, if you don't understand the problem, you can't begin to devise a solution. This includes finding out the conditions and limitations that control devising a practical solution. In other words, understanding what we have to work with. So what is our challenge? We need to carry a satellite from the Earth to the moon using a rocket. But because this is a classroom activity, we have certain limitations. What kind of a rocket? We're going to use a balloon. Can I use more than one? What size or shape of balloon? These are good questions. What will guide the rocket? We're going to use string. How far does the rocket have to travel? How will we attach the satellite to the rocket? These are the kinds of questions we want the students to ask. Engineers ask these same kinds of questions. Once students understand the problem, they can begin to imagine a solution.
So that was the first of the cycle. Next is imagine.
The second phase of the engineering design process is to imagine. What does imagine basically mean? Brainstorming. Coming up with a wide array of possible solutions, including simple, complex, even bordering on the crazy. Not just sensible ideas, but out-of-the-box ideas. Remember, the process of brainstorming is synergistic. People's ideas evolve. They piggyback on each other. The mantra here is, there are no bad ideas. In this phase, the creative juices get flowing. This is the time many students get really excited and invested in the project. So let's play with this a little. What might be some ways to attach the satellite to the rocket? A simple solution, just tape it to the straw. A more complex solution, attach paper clips to the straw and attach the satellite to the paper clips. Even wilder, build a box out of straws, put the satellite in the box, attach balloons to the side of the box like power pond do. But teachers have to monitor this phase pretty carefully. Make sure the students are working well together. Make sure they support each other's ideas. And make sure everyone participates. There are no bad ideas. This is the spirit of imagining.
So we have videos for all of the bubbles. I'm not going to show them all to you, but you can look at them on our website. The next phase is the most difficult for many reasons. The next phase is to plan. Imagining is much more general. You don't even really have to have a list of supplies. You just kind of want the general shape, just real general. I can't stress that enough, that when you're in the imagine phase, just whatever ideas you have. The planning is where you get more specific, and that's when you decide what materials you're going to use, how big is it going to be, you know, how long is the straw going to be, all these different things that are going to be involved with the planning. Please take notes here. For your plan, I'm going to want a top, a side, and a front view. Top, side, and front view. Your drawing must include measurements and labels. You know, this is the straw, this is the cardboard, etc. Labels, measurements, those three views. You are not allowed to start building until your drawing is approved. And I don't know if you remember in that first video I showed you, what is the test of a good drawing? That you can build from it. So if I, with my bold personality, take over the group and I design everything, but then the next day I'm absent and my partner Allie and my other partner Catherine are there, but I basically, you know, did the whole drawing and I don't have a good drawing, they cannot build my vision. That means, you know, everyone has to see your vision. We're all going to come around and help approve your drawings. We need to be able to see what you have in your mind on your piece of paper. That is the test of a good drawing, is that that somebody else can build from your plan. And I refer you to that one picture with the deck. You know, obviously their plan wasn't very good or someone didn't implement the plan very good, but it could have been that the plan was wrong. So that's going to be your test for your drawing, and then once you have your drawing approved, we will let you start building. And there is, you can turn your papers over now. You will see on that front page, I couldn't let you see the front page because it showed you some of the questions I knew you wanted to ask, like the restraint. So that's one reason I didn't want you to see that. If you turn to page 12, the second page, this is just teacher stuff. The kind of stuff that I've kind of been injecting for you on the side. You can look at that. Now, on page 13, this is where you get into theoretical math, and it's pretty simple theoretical math. Your heat sensor is a total of 1 gram in theory. It's not actually going to weigh 1 gram. But if you do buy that kit, you do get a digital scale, and you can bring that to reality if you would like. Does anybody have any questions so far before I go on to the next page? So the next page starts your student pages. Those first couple of pages were for you as the teacher. Now, if you're short on paper, they don't really need that first page, but they would definitely need page 15. So 15, you see the design challenge again, same design challenge you had. There's a little blurb just to give it some NASA meaning. I think we've had enough NASA meaning here today. We can move on to the next page. So the next page repeats the challenge. You keep getting the challenge repeated. Page 17, you can see you're getting charged with 4 instructions where a K through 2 person it only has 2 instructions. So these are your instructions on page 17. The total mass of the instruments, detectors, probes, and sensors, solar cells can be no greater than 60 kilograms. It says see the data table on page 18. So let's take a quick peek on page 18, just a quick peek, and then we're going back. So that is basically your information. That's just kind of a chart telling you what everything weighs. So you're going to be referring to that chart as you try to problem solve. You can see it's pretty simple math so far. Okay, so go back to page 17. The satellite cannot be launched if the mass of the instruments, detectors, probes, and solar cells is in excess of 60 kilograms. So you need to choose your instruments carefully. And I'm going to note here, the challenge has kind of a grammatical issue. It says you must carry a combination of cameras, gravity probes, and heat sensors. That should be and or. So if you want to add a little slash and or. Okay, yeah. Right, right. Yeah, and or. So that's a grammar issue. And trying to get something changed on the NASA portal is very difficult. So the entire satellite must fit within the, and we've got an oatmeal canister, so you can circle oatmeal canister. And I've talked to you about that. Number 3, at least 2 instruments must deploy, which means unfold, pop out. Somehow they have to move when the satellite is launched. These instruments must be mounted on a part that moves. And number 4, the satellites must withstand a 1-meter drop test. Okay, and we've already done, at the top of page 18, we went around the room with your different questions. So page 19, you definitely need to do as a group before you start. You have to decide what instruments you're going to take and do the math calculations. You're also going to have to do the calculation. Allie and I'll walk around with the canister so you can do the calculation on page 19. And then page 20 is where you draw your volume calculations. And so you'll have to answer the question on page 20. And then 21, you don't have to draw it on that page, 21. You can draw it on your own paper. There's graph paper at the back. You can draw your drawing anywhere you want. If you feel like that is constrictive, it's a very small piece of paper to draw your design on. And any one of us will approve it on any paper that you